Right now at 5, the Real ID deadline is fast approaching after years of delays.
And we've got another pretty cool start out there. Warmer temperatures on the way, storm chances on the way. Details in the forecast get you out the door coming up.
Plus, a partnership is renewed as 2 Southwest Missouri fire departments team up to share resources.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner. It's Wednesday. It's April the 16th now. And now officially just beyond that halfway point through the month.
Yes, we are.
So I'm very curious about, and I know this is going to sound bad, how little I pay attention to things these days. I really am going to pay attention to the Real ID thing.
No.
Because here's the thing. I know you have to have it to fly. And you folks at home know I'm never ever going to set foot.
And to enter government buildings, certain government buildings.
See, that's what I need to know, because for me, I'm like, I don't need it. I don't ever intend to fly. So apparently now I'm going to need it. So make sure you pay attention. Make sure you have the right credentials to get where you're going. And the good news is you don't need any special credentials to learn about our forecast for today, because we provide it free every morning. And we're going to start, though, with our look outside downtown Pittsburgh from 4th and Broadway. Looking again back roughly to the southeast. Looking pretty good out there. Skies for the time being are clear, but that is going to change as we go into the late morning and afternoon hours. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looking pretty good as well this morning. Again, the future track showing us initially clear skies, and then eventually I did it a second time in a row. Didn't put those pauses in here. Well, regardless, we'll start to see isolated to widely scattered showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms as we head into the afternoon and evening. And then we'll get another complex of storms late tonight into early tomorrow morning. And some of those could be a bit on the strong side, which we'll go over with you in just a minute. This morning, though, much warmer than where we were yesterday. 47 in Joplin, 45 in Pittsburgh, and across the region. And don't get me wrong, it's a chilly start. Some of us, as we mentioned, would be into the low 40s. And we do have some upper 30s. Got a little colder down there. Grove and Jay both in the upper 30s, but most of us are hovering right about the mid 40s, which is right about where we should be for this time of year. Looking to be about 45, kids getting on the bus, clear skies out there, south winds 5 to 10. Those south winds will increase through the morning and eventually start gusting upwards of 30. Around 74 when the kids come home, and again, maybe an isolated shower or storm. I do want to emphasize that not everybody, at least through today and into the afternoon, will see rain, but some of us may get an isolated shower or storm out there. Outside of that, though, we are going to be partly cloudy into the afternoon, much warmer. Temperatures about 10 degrees warmer today than where we were yesterday as we're heading into the mid-70s. Maybe even some upper 70s for our western counties. As I mentioned, we have additional storm chances overnight tonight, and then we still have that severe threat as we head into Friday evening. And we'll go over all those details with you and how the holiday weekend is shaping up here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, a father and son are hospitalized in critical condition following a crash in Ottawa County, Oklahoma. Authorities say a 9-year-old boy and his 54-year-old father were injured when their ATV collided with a pickup on East 40 Road in Quapaw. The father was taken to a Joplin hospital. A medical helicopter took the 9-year-old to a Tulsa hospital. Authorities say the man's 19-year-old son was driving the truck that collided with the ATV. Joplin first responders were called to a fire yesterday evening. The report came in around 5:30 p.m. for a house fire on South Connor Avenue. Now, when firefighters arrived, they found the front of the house fully engulfed in flames. Firefighters went right to work and the fire was under control around 6:40. No one was injured, and neighbors tell us that nobody was living in the home at this time. The Joplin Fire Marshal has begun an investigation into the cause of the fire. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, after a 20-year delay, Real ID enforcement is just around the corner. Starting May 7th, if you do not have one, you may not be able to fly on an airline. Now is the time to check your ID or driver's license for a gold or black star in the corner. Now, if it has one, that means you have a real ID. Now, these are designed to prevent fraud and identity theft. Officials say it's important to get yours as soon as possible. Well, the fate of the employment of IRS workers reaches all the way to the Show Me state. Now, sources say The IRS is expected to announce their individual decisions by the end of this week, the busiest week of the year. And the news came just ahead of yesterday's tax filing deadline as the agencies process tens of millions of tax returns, payments, and refunds. Now, one likely location impacted will be in Kansas City, Missouri. The Trump administration is aiming to cut roughly 20,000 IRS jobs, about 20% of the agency workforce. Well, two fire departments in southwest Missouri are helping each other not only in the field, but with equipment needs. Monday night, the Webb City Council voted to allow the Webb City Fire Department to donate a brush truck to Dunaweg Volunteer Fire Department. KOAM Samantha Walker spoke with the two departments about the importance of their partnership.
It's not uncommon for the Webb City Fire Department and Dunaweg Volunteer Fire Department to work together to fight fires, but now that partnership is going even further by sharing equipment. It starts with a Webb City brush truck from 1984 that was donated to them by the Missouri Department of Conservation.
It just was older and had some issues. Parts are getting hard to find for it, so we had it had been setting for a year or two here. We had just decided to discontinue its use. We didn't have a need for it.
The Dunaweg Volunteer Fire Department has the exact same truck, which stopped working properly several months ago.
We've been trying to figure out what's wrong with it, and we finally just figured out what it was.
But due to the age of the vehicles, parts to fix Dunaweg's broken truck were difficult to find. When the department heard Webb City had the same truck, they offered to buy it, with a plan to take parts from it to fix their own.
Obviously, the truck wasn't worth a whole lot. It was donated to us to begin with, so it was just one of those deals, just pass it on.
With approval from City Council, the Webb City Fire Department is giving Dunaweg their brush truck, with no money exchanging hands.
Budgets are very tight. It's very exciting. It just goes to prove we have a super great relationship with all the departments around here, and we all work together very much.
The Webb City Fire Chief said it only made sense with their partnership to send the truck from one department to another who could put it to good use.
We have great auto aid, mutual aid agreements, so Dunaweg helps us a lot, and so it's kind of nice to be able to help them a little bit, and it kind of pays them back for the help they give us.
Dunaweg Fire responds to more incidents in rural areas requiring a brush truck, so they're ready to put the equipment to good use.
And we'll go back to Webb City and help them with this truck that we put together. So, it's just a great partnership.
One they are so grateful to have.
We are so appreciative of Webb City for just donating this. It's just a really big blessing.
The Dunaweg Volunteer Fire Department's brush truck is already in the shop, ready for those new parts to get it up and running. Reporting in Jasper County, I'm Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
The Webb City Council also gave approval for the fire department to buy additional bunker gear, something they're buying together with Dunaweg to save both departments some money. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the Purple Dragons softball team tries to remain undefeated. We'll have the details. Plus, Notre Dame visitors were emotional as they visit the church on the 6th anniversary of the fire. And we have a warmer and partly cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Sky Watch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Well, Pittsburgh High School softball is off to a 5-0 start to the 2025 season. The Purple Dragons are one of just 6 undefeated teams left in all of Class 5A and hope to remain unbeaten after a home game. We've got an SEK League battle at Pittsburgh High School yesterday afternoon. The undefeated Dragons hosting Coffeyville. Top of the first, Mackenzie Jones pulls one down the line in left, and she hustles into second with a double, but gets stranded there. We go to the bottom of the first. Purple Dragons attack immediately at the plate. Megan Johnston crushes a pitch to deep left and gone for a home run. Pittsburgh leads 2-0 and is far from finished. A little later in the frame, Briley Mantooth hammers one into the gap in left center. And a couple more runs will score. It's now a 5-0 Pittsburgh lead. And still in the first inning, and Haley Gray is going to knock it back up the middle into center field for a 2 RBI single. The Dragons run away with this one quickly. They improved to 6-0 on the season with a 25-0 win over Coffeyville. Pittsburgh High School also announced yesterday that Tristan Gegg is the Purple Dragons' next head coach of the varsity girls basketball team. She's very familiar with the Southeast Kansas area. Gegg was an all-state basketball player at Labette County High School, then played 5 seasons for the Gorillas women's basketball team, and is third in program history for career points scored. After her playing career ended in 2023, she's been an assistant at Girard for the past couple of years. And yesterday was the final day of the 2025 MIAA Women's Golf Championship in Kearney, Nebraska. Missouri Southern was in 7th place coming into yesterday with 1 golfer in the top 15. The Lions finish in 5th place as a team. Central Missouri brings home the conference championship with a 22-stroke lead on everyone else. Sam McKelly from Northeastern State wins 1st place as an individual at 16 over par. Katarina Chinaranska from Missouri Southern finishes tied for 11th place at 21 over. Lion senior Lily Allman gets tied for 16th place, just 1 stroke behind her. And Pittsburgh State Baseball has given itself a great shot at a bid in the NCAA tournament next month. The Gorillas have won 12 games in a row, entering a non-conference showdown on the road yesterday afternoon. And now that winning streak grows to 13 games after PSU takes care of Missouri S&T 17-12. Big day at the plate for a number of Gorillas, including MIAA Hitter of the Week Drew Bugner, who gets his 3rd home run of the season. All of those coming in the last week. Closing things out with a look at Major League Baseball. Royals and Cardinals both play the second of a 3-game set. Each of them are hovering around 500. The Royals fall to the Yankees 4-2 last night. Kansas City scored the first 2 runs of the game, but New York responds with 4 unanswered. The Royals try to avoid the sweep today. Same result for the Cardinals. They get shut out by the Astros 2-0. A rubber match for this 3-game series is this afternoon at 12:15. Still to come, the CDC is spreading awareness about better screening for autism as the U.S. autism rate continues to rise. Plus, it's not too bad to start our day, but showers, thunderstorms building in. The latest when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:17 on this Wednesday morning, and we're going to start with our severe weather risks. This is going to be mainly for the overnight hours, which we'll get to in a moment. We have a very low tornado risk. We don't have any areas highlighted, but again, remember, with severe thunderstorms, the risk is never 0, but there are times it can be very negligible. We do have a low hail risk. The biggest change here is the hail risk. It's been expanded a little further to the east and south, just a wee bit out there, so it covers more of the area than it did yesterday. Wind risk is pretty well unchanged just into our far western counties. So what are we looking at as we go through the next few days? Well, we're looking at pretty nice temperatures, but the trade-off is very gusty winds and the shower and thunderstorm chances. By about noon or so, we could start seeing some isolated showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms, a few more of those in the evening. And a reminder, not everybody, at least through the afternoon, will see rain with these showers and thunderstorm chances. And a strong storm is possible, but the better chance will come overnight tonight. So here we are about midnight. We start to see a complex of showers and thunderstorms roll in, and you see where these thunderstorms are. Now think back to that map we saw of where that hail risk was expanded to. That's what we're looking at. The primary concern with that will be hail, but if everything holds together, we'll be done with most of the shower and thunderstorm activity by 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. But tomorrow morning is going to be the opportunity for some strong, potentially low-grade severe thunderstorms. And I also want to emphasize that fact. It was 2 weeks ago this morning that we had a very different situation going on. Tomorrow, not looking to be anything like what we saw 2 weeks ago, but some strong storms will be possible. Once we get past that, we are breezy tomorrow. Those winds out of the south gusting upwards of 40 will be partly cloudy and temperatures climbing into the low, mid, and take a look out west, maybe even some upper 80s. So a very warm Thursday for us. We go into Thursday night, partly cloudy skies. We go into Friday, and that's how we start the day initially. And as we head through the late morning and afternoon, clouds begin to increase. We're still going to be mild, but we've got to start watching thunderstorm development even as early as 2 or 3 o'clock by Friday afternoon. Doesn't look impressive on Future Track, but don't let that fool you necessarily. Anything we see will have that potential to be strong, possibly severe. And then, once we get past any storms ahead of the front, we'll get the actual front. There's that wind shift line. Late Friday night into early Saturday morning, we'll get a line of showers and storms through here that could potentially bring additional strong to severe thunderstorm threats. And that's why, for Friday, we have an elevated risk for most of the region as we go into Friday evening and early Saturday morning. So you've got to stay weather aware over the next few days. All right, temperatures right now get better than where we were yesterday. A lot closer to normal. It's 47 in Joplin. Skies for now are clear. South-southeast winds at 7, making it feel like 44, so not a major drop. Do have some cold spots out there. Jay Grove, both into the upper 30s. We do have some low 40s, but the bulk of the area kind of just hovering right around the mid 40s this morning. And in through the morning we go, and almost when we get to the second graphic, I'm going to tell you something, but we're going to be starting near 50 by 8, mid 60s by 11. Still sunny. Clouds start to gradually increase a bit. Scattered showers and storms. When I updated this graphic this morning with today's numbers, each and every one of these spots were exactly 10 degrees warmer than the same temperatures yesterday. So yesterday was 58, 63, 65. 10 degrees warmer, so a nice climb, but those south winds gusting to 30. Into the evening we go. Again, a few isolated showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, slightly better chances as we showed you overnight tonight between about 2 and 7 a.m. South winds still gusting to 30. And I want to talk a little bit about the weekend. So we are looking at Saturday just kind of being bogged down with showers and thunderstorms. But the good news for Saturday at this point, we don't have any areas highlighted for severe weather that are up close, but it is something we still want to watch. These will continue into the first half of Easter Sunday, but as we head into the afternoon, this activity should begin to clear on out of here. So here's what Saturday's severe risk looks like. The closest it gets is far southeastern Berry County and parts of Benton County out there. For Sunday, some good news. It's still close, which is why we want to watch, but it doesn't immediately include our area with that severe risk heading into Sunday. So again, it's pretty close. We want to keep an eye on it, but thankfully we don't have an area highlighted for Easter Sunday. Again, breezy through at least Friday. Low 80s tomorrow, upper 70s. Back to normal Saturday, a little cooler Sunday. And then as we head into next week, of course, Monday looks like a pretty decent day. And then we do want to keep an eye on those additional thunderstorm chances as we head into the next work week. That's a check of your forecast. We are back with Health Watch right after this.
Well, topping Health Watch this morning, a new Centers for Disease Control and Prevention study shows the autism diagnosis rate has increased among U.S. children. Now, it goes along a long-term trend that experts have largely attributed to a better understanding of and screening for the condition. Now, the study found about 1 in every 31 kids was diagnosed with autism by age 8 in 2022. Now that's up from 1 in 36 in 2020. Now rates varied widely by gender, race, and geographic area. Now last week, the Department of Health and Human Services launched a massive testing and research effort with the goal of identifying the cause of the epidemic by September. But the new CDC report says better diagnostic practices can help explain many of the recent findings. Well, it's a hard habit to kick, but smokers who turn to electronic cigarettes to help them quit using traditional cigarettes may not be helping their health. Mandy Gaither looks at a study released that finds dual use of these products carries the same risks as cigarette use alone.
It's a common way to cut back, but if you think vaping while continuing to use traditional cigarettes is a healthier route, American Cancer Society researchers urge you to think again.
The goal really should be to get to zero smoking, zero tobacco use.
In a new study released today, researchers analyzed data from more than 2,600 adult smokers who reported dual use of cigarettes and e-cigarettes and compared them with those who used just one of those products. They found those who used both were exposed to the same tobacco-related nicotine and toxins as they would be if only using traditional cigarettes.
The number of cigarettes per day, whether it's the e-cigarettes or the regular cigarettes, the number of cigarettes per day was the most important factor, where, of course, higher number of cigarettes gave you higher number of toxins.
The exposure to these toxins carries risks of cancer, cardiovascular disease, reproductive problems, developmental issues, and respiratory harm. Researchers say smokers should be aware that dual use of these products is not safe.
I think the main thing to take away is that the less you smoke, the better.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Now, the CDC says most adults who smoke cigarettes want to stop, but less than 1 in 10 adults succeed in quitting in a given year. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And most of us starting a little warmer out there this morning. Some of us still a bit on the cold side. We'll have another look at your forecast when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, Joplin's Ronald McDonald House celebrates a financial boost that will strengthen their mission.
And we've got a pretty decent start to the day. A little bit on the cold side for some of us. Warm weather on the way and rain on the way. Look at the forecast, get you out the door. Coming up.
Plus, snake season is back in the 4 states. What you should do if you encounter the crawling creature.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is Wednesday. It is April the 16th. And again, the internet is a fascinating resource of information.
No.
I haven't read the whole thing, but there's an article from the Smithsonian. Apparently, some new studies.
Yes.
Crows can comprehend geometry. They believe that they can identify different shapes. They know what different shapes are.
Birds are fascinating.
The crows are crazy, man. That's something else, though. I mean, it's if all the other animals on Earth ever figured out they outnumber us, we would probably be in some serious trouble.
Good thing none of them speak English. They just know geometry.
That's good. That's good. I don't know how I feel about that as a start, though. But good news is no crows to worry about this morning. Just some chilly temperatures for some of us. Others a little bit warmer. Let's start with that look outside in downtown Pittsburgh. There it is. And it's looking pretty good. Skies are clear, and at least for the first part of our day, they will remain that way. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looking good as well this morning. On to the future track we go. Through the morning, again, we'll have those clear skies, and we'll start to go partly cloudy by about noon or so. And that's when we're going to start to see, well, it's not showing up on future track. I'd say by noon, we could start to see a couple of isolated showers, maybe a rumble of thunder. As we end the evening hours, that will continue. But with this first batch, even with the overnight batch, not everybody necessarily is going to see rain from today or tonight's activity. It's going to be Friday night into the weekend that we start to get everybody involved. With that said, our tornado risk for today very low. There's no areas highlighted, but that hail risk is the biggest change, and it's still on the low end, but it's been expanded a little further to the east and a little bit to the south compared to yesterday, and our wind risk still confined to our western counties out there. So some good news on that. And the other good news, those haven't been risen. Those threat levels are still low, which is some good news as well. 47's where we're at in Joplin right now. Pittsburgh sitting at 44. And across the area, we're starting to see those winds turn out of the south, and temperatures for most of us mid-40s, about where we should be. But down south, we've got some upper 30s. Miami, Grove, Jay, and now Anderson into the upper 30s. So a little colder down there for you guys. I am sorry about that. But don't worry, you will all get in on the warmer weather by this afternoon. Kids getting on the bus about the mid-40s. South winds around 5 to 10, those clear skies. But winds will increase through the morning. They start gusting upwards of 30, right around 74 when the bus brings them home. And again, for some of us, an isolated shower or thunderstorm. So do keep that in mind. If you're heading out to pick the kids up from the bus, or if they're getting off the bus, just make sure they're aware as well. It could be a bit stormy here and there. Today's temperature is about 10 degrees warmer than yesterday, mid, maybe even upper 70s for some. And again, isolated showers and storms. Otherwise, partly cloudy skies and those gusty south winds pushing about 30. The winds will increase as we head into our Thursday. Our thunderstorm chances go up a bit overnight tonight, and then they'll really increase heading into the Easter weekend. We'll go over those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. Thanks. Well, springtime brings out fun family activities and some familiar holiday faces. The Easter Bunny is chilling at Joplin's North Park Mall to greet and take photos with kiddos of all ages. Now, there have been several Easter events happening, and there are several more to come. You can scan this QR code to find some more egg hunts coming up in the 4 states. Now, of course, you can also adventure over to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, for more things to do. Well, a big day for the Ronald McDonald House in Joplin. The family-focused charity got a helping hand from Freeman Auxiliary yesterday in the form of a $10,000 check. Now, for Ronald McDonald House, the donation means being able to better serve area families during some of life's most difficult moments. Now, for Freeman Auxiliary, the donation means giving necessary support to a charity that does so much good for the community.
Well, it means both the financial support, but it's also a lot about the relationships. So Freeman Health System has been a founding partner since the house was originally built. And so for almost 30 years, those auxiliary members have been volunteering over at the hospital systems, in the gift shops, all throughout the hospital. And the funds that they raise help us do what we do here at the Ronald McDonald House. So it really is a celebration of both the donation and the relationship.
Now, the partnership between Ronald McDonald House and Freeman Auxiliary goes all the way back to 1995. Well, snake season is slithering into the 4 states. Now, while these scaly visitors might give you a fright, the Missouri Department of Conservation says most are more helpful than harmful, serving as nature's pest control by keeping rodent populations in check. But what should you do if you cross paths with a snake? Well, an expert from the Missouri Department of Conservation has some tips.
If you are bit by a snake, if possible, try to get a picture of that snake on your phone, because when you go to the doctor, and all snake bites, you should probably go to the doctor just to play it safe. But the first thing they're going to ask you, was it venomous or non-venomous? If you have a picture of that snake, that'll help you show the doctor what type of snake bit you.
Now, according to the Missouri Department of Conservation, it's legal to kill a snake in Missouri. However, the exception is if a venomous snake is in a position where it could bite a person. And that's a look at this morning's top stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, the U.S. flies long-range bombers in a joint training drill with South Korea. Plus, Ukraine and Russia peace talks seem to have stalled. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Well, topping World Watch, Notre Dame visitors say they felt emotional during the visiting the landmark Tuesday, on its 6th anniversary of the devastating fire. Now, the flames destroyed the cathedral's roof and spire and caused major damage throughout. Now, it reopened in December 2024. Tourists from all over the world flock to see the medieval Catholic cathedral. Notre Dame now welcomes an average of over 30,000 visitors per day. Well, the U.S. and South Korea conduct joint aerial drills in a show of force against North Korea. Now, South Korea's defense ministry released footage Tuesday saying it shows U.S. and South Korea long-range bombers participating in a drill with South Korea over the Korean peninsula. Now, the exercise is aimed at strengthening the allies' combined operational capability and demonstrate their deterrence capability against North Korea's advancing nuclear program. Now, the defense ministry said both U.S. and South Korean F-16 fighter jets also took part in the training. And both countries will continue to expand joint military exercises to respond to North Korean nuclear threats. Well, NATO's Secretary General visited Ukraine 2 days after a deadly Russian missile strike killed 35 people, including 2 children. Now, the visit came as U.S.-led peace talks between Russia and Ukraine appear to be stalled. Rick Edson has the story.
A final round of applause for a professional pianist killed in the Ukrainian city of Sumy during Russian missile strikes on Palm Sunday morning.
This is a very big loss because there are very few performers who are really so talented.
Nearly 36 people were killed in the attack and more than 100 more injured. Russia claims it was targeting a gathering of Ukrainian troops, while Kyiv says the missiles deliberately targeted civilians. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte condemned the attack during a visit to Ukraine Tuesday, where he met with wounded soldiers. The visit comes as U.S. peace talks to end the war appear stalled.
These discussions are not easy, not least in the wake of this horrific violence. but we all support President Trump's push for peace.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says negotiations for a minerals deal with the U.S. is going well. But he appeared to criticize U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff's statement that a peace deal could hang on the fate of the so-called 5 territories, land that Russia has illegally annexed from Ukraine.
Ukraine is a sovereign state, and all territories belong to the state of Ukraine. These representatives discuss issues outside their competence.
President Trump has appeared to place blame on Zelensky for the war that started in 2022 when Russia invaded Ukraine.
You don't start a war against somebody that's 20 times your size and then hope that people give you some missiles.
Earlier this week, President Zelensky invited President Trump to Ukraine to get a first-hand look at the war's destruction.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:44 on the dot now on this Wednesday morning. It's not Thursday yet. All right, our tornado risk, I'm going to talk about our severe weather threat over the next several days, is very low. We don't have any areas highlighted for today into tonight, which is good news. We do have that low hail risk, and that's really the biggest change since yesterday is it covers a broader area. It's been expanded a little further east and south. The wind risk still roughly exactly where it was yesterday into parts of Greenwood, Elk, and Chautauqua counties. So hail is going to be the primary concern, and even that, though, these risks are all still low. None of them were upgraded. None of them brought up to elevated status in our area, and that is some fantastic news. But unfortunately, the risk is still there. Heading into the afternoon, we're going to start seeing opportunity for some isolated to widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. A couple of strong storms possible, but the greater threat for any stronger storm activity is going to be overnight tonight, which we'll show you in a moment. And again, a reminder with the activity we see today through the afternoon and evening, not everybody necessarily is going to see anything out of it. Now, by midnight, if you follow, by the way, that line of where that hail risk is, you will follow this complex of storms out there. It starts to reach into our western counties and begins to roll on off to the east, and then eventually it still looks to want to turn southeast as it gets closer to the Kansas-Missouri border. This is our window. This is our better window. If there's going to be strong or low-grade severe thunderstorms with our first round of activity, it's going to be in this window between about midnight and 7 o'clock tomorrow morning with this complex as it races through, though. You can see by 5, it's gone. From 2 a.m. to 5 a.m., it's gone. Some lingering thunderstorms in our northern counties, and then by about 7, 8 o'clock at the latest tomorrow morning, it's done. It's gone. It's out of here. We then will just have partly cloudy skies, very gusty winds out of the south reaching 40, and temperatures tomorrow, many of us in the low to mid 80s, but our western counties, could be getting into the upper 80s near 90, which is just incredibly warm for this time of year. Now, as we go through the rest of our Thursday, we're looking all right. There's another thunderstorm complex to our north. It's expected to stay that way. We do have a risk area highlighted in our northern counties, but again, looking at the future track data, looking at some of the other information, I think any chances of seeing really anything through the rest of our Thursday once that first complex gets out of here is pretty low. Now, we go into Friday morning, still very windy. Clouds will begin to thicken up, and then as we head into the afternoon, as early as 2, 3 o'clock, we start to see shower and thunderstorm development. Some of these could be strong, possibly severe, especially since they're going to be by themselves and ahead of the front. That's why we want to watch them. They may not do too much, but they're going to be in an environment where they could intensify a bit. Our main threat for any strong severe thunderstorms would be overnight from Friday into Sunday morning with this cold front. As it continues to push through the area, we'll get a line of showers and storms associated with that will roll on through, and that's what brings us the elevated risk as we head into our Friday for most of the areas. This is what's been showing up since Sunday of this week. Still showing up, still roughly the same zone. Hail still looks to be the bigger concern with this activity, but it is something that we certainly want to keep an eye on. As for the rest of this morning, clear skies to start, upper 40s for most of us, mid 60s by 11 o'clock, and our highs today about 10 degrees warmer, mid upper 70s. Isolated showers and storms, south winds gusting to 30. Clouds will thicken up a bit overnight tonight, and then we'll drop back into the low 60s, so a very mild evening. South winds still gusting to 30. And as we head into Easter weekend, we still have showers and thunderstorms out there. The good news is our severe threat for the weekend has kind of waned a little bit, but it is still there. It's something we want to watch, especially if you've got plans this weekend. Maybe you're heading out of town, you're going camping. It is something we want to keep an eye on, as we'll continue to see showers and storms, and that does include Easter morning. So if you're planning Easter egg hunts, either move them to the afternoon and evening or have have an indoor location because it won't be until maybe 4 or 5 o'clock that we'll get the rest of this shower and thunderstorm activity out of here. So for Saturday, the severe risk does just barely clips us, but it's obviously very close. Same on Sunday. Doesn't clip us, but it is very close, and that's why we want to continue to watch for that severe potential as we head into the weekend in case any of that changes. All right, mid-70s today, low 80s tomorrow, upper 70s Friday, back to normal Saturday, a little chilly for Easter Sunday. Monday of next week looks great, and we've got additional shower and thunderstorm chances next week as well. That's checking your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
For your music and movie news now, here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minutes.
Wasn't it something? And I'm older than dirt, and they still seem to like what I do.
Barry Manilow is hitting the road one more time. The iconic singer-songwriter has announced a final run of North American concert dates beginning May 23rd in Pittsburgh. He's hardly retiring. Manilow has an ongoing Las Vegas residency that he'll return to after his arena tour.
Every year that you live, that world will get bigger and brighter.
The first full trailer is out for The Life of Chuck. Tom Hiddleston leads the cast of the drama based on a Stephen King novella. The Life of Chuck opens in theaters June 13th. Star Wars Day, May 4th, Heritage Auctions is putting some rare items on the block, such as a set of 12 factory-sealed minifigures and another figure set featuring Boba Fett, both of which could fetch 6 figures at auction. Other big items include a huge 24-sheet billboard poster from 1977 and Pedro Pascal's helmet from Season 1 of The Mandalorian. Bidders, may the 4th be with you, always. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Well, a mysterious object crashed through the roof of a New Jersey business, and the bizarre boom was caught on camera. But the owner is still trying to figure out what it was. Jerry Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
A big, bizarre boom leaves a big hole and even bigger questions for employees at a New Jersey auto shop. According to WPVI, owner Sebastian Leonardo says he arrived at his shop in Magnolia to find a large gaping hole in the roof and debris scattered everywhere, but seemingly no clear culprit for the surreal scene.
That's when I went to my cameras and I found all the videos.
Surveillance from in and outside the shop captured the sights and sounds of what seems like a clear collision from above.
You eventually see like a giant fireball come through the ceiling and then everything come flying down the roof with it.
Along with the ripped roof, Leonardo says there were signs of a big impact inside.
A sizable dent in a thick steel gauge box.
But what was it? A Maverick meteor? A downed drone? Employees were left to clean up the mess and search for answers, as well as the as-yet unidentified flying object, interstellar or otherwise, that blasted the business. From a mysterious object making a big bang to a mouse-serious protester making a big stink over garbage. Fed up with piled-up trash and a resulting rodent infestation stemming from an ongoing UK sanitation strike, a resident donned a giant rat costume to complain at a Birmingham City Council meeting. According to local reports, they took their ratical approach a step further, speaking in character as the rodent and thanking the officials for not solving the issue and providing plenty of fetid food for his fellow furry friends. Hey, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and there's nothing squeakier than a big old smelly rat. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Stick around, we'll be right back. Well, the UK's largest zoo holds a gender reveal for 4 lion cubs. Whipsnade Zoo in Bedfordshire, England, Tuesday confirmed the North African lion cubs are 3 girls and 1 boy. Now, the 12-week-old lioness and lion are seen playing in their enclosure with their parents. Now, the zoo also says the siblings got a clean bill of health for their first checkup. Now that their sex is revealed, the zoo is asking the public to help name the new lions in its Pride of 10. Well, it's exciting times at a German zoo where some furry friends go on an Easter egg hunt. Meerkats and raccoons were on a roll as they hunted for the colorful eggs in their enclosure Tuesday. Now, the animals searched high and low and even sniffed around water to look for the hidden treats. Now, some meerkats even got their hands stuck inside the eggs during the hunt. Now, the eggs weren't filled with sweet treats for the meerkats, but rather mealworms, which they prefer, and the raccoons, who are used to eating boiled eggs as part of their weekly diet, didn't seem shell-shocked by the bright colors.
We're talking a fortune in eggs given to raccoons there. Those raccoons must be very important, very special. That's very cool, though. It's always neat to see how the animals participate in different holidays and things, because they have a blast, too. They may not understand what's going on, but they still have a lot of fun, and they get good food, too. Upper 40s at 8 this morning, mid-60s by 11. Sunny skies initially. It will start to go partly cloudy, and we could have a couple of isolated showers or thunderstorms. Most of us will be dry through the afternoon. Mid-70s, south winds gusting to 30. We'll get a complex of storms after midnight tonight, and that could be strong to low-grade severe, with hail as the primary risk. South winds continuing to gust upwards of 30. Tomorrow, those south winds will gust upwards of 40. That morning complex should be done by 7, 8 o'clock at the latest. And we'll be in the low mid 80s, even some upper 80s possible. Then Friday, breezy upper 70s. And we're watching that possibility for some strong, potentially severe storms late Friday evening into early Saturday morning. Let's check your forecast. We'll be back with more right after this.